The massive form of Warlord Kraxthul dominated the bridge of his dreadnought, his forearms crossed in a gesture that had intimidated countless species across 17 star systems. His chitinous exoskeleton gleamed under the harsh lights as he glared at the small vessel that had dared to ignore his blockade warnings. "Patch me through to that pathetic ship," he growled to his communications officer, mandibles clicking with anticipation. The viewscreen flickered, revealing a single human sitting in what appeared to be the most unremarkable cockpit Kraxthul had ever seen. The creature was actually eating something while piloting, crumbs scattered across a console that looked like it had been assembled from spare parts. "I am Warlord Kraxthul, Terror of the Void, Destroyer of Worlds," his voice boomed across the communication channel. "You have entered my domain without permission. By the ancient laws of conquest, you owe me tribute." The human looked up from his meal, chewing thoughtfully. "Oh, hey there, I'm Dave. Dave Peterson. Sorry, didn't see you there, I was having lunch." Kraxthul's secondary eyes twitched. In his 300 years of conquest, no one had ever responded to his introduction with such casual indifference. "Did you not hear me, insignificant worm? I demanded tribute." Dave swallowed and wiped his hands on what appeared to be a cloth. "Napkin. Yeah, I heard you. Tribute, right?" He glanced around his small cockpit. Let me see what I've got here." The Warlord's crew exchanged glances. This was highly irregular. Most species either fled in terror, begged for mercy, or occasionally attempted futile resistance. None had ever paused to consider what they might offer. "I've got some fuel cells, but you probably don't need those with that massive ship," Dave mused aloud, rummaging through a small storage compartment. Some spare parts, but again, different tech base. Oh, wait a minute. Dave's face lit up with what Kraxthul would later learn was genuine enthusiasm. The human reached into an insulated container and pulled out what appeared to be 2 slices of some organic material with various substances layered between them. "I've got half a sandwich left. Turkey and Swiss with lettuce, tomato, and this amazing mustard I picked up on Kepler Station. You want it?" The bridge of the dreadnought fell silent. Kraxthul's 4 eyes blinked in sequence, a biological response that occurred when his brain struggled to process unexpected information. "You offer me food?" Kraxthul asked slowly. "Well, yeah. I mean, you asked for tribute, right? This is literally half of my lunch. I was saving it for later, but you seem like you could use a good meal." Dave held up the sandwich, examining it critically. "The bread's still fresh, and I make a mean sandwich. My grandmother's recipe for the mustard." First Officer Vexani leaned toward his commander. "Sir, this appears to be some form of nutritional sustenance. Perhaps it's a primitive offering ritual." But Kraxthul was staring at the human with growing fascination. "You would give me your own sustenance, part of your limited provisions?" Dave shrugged. "I mean, I've got more food in storage. And honestly, you look like you haven't had a decent meal in a while. When's the last time you ate something that wasn't military rations or whatever it is warlords usually eat?" The question struck Kraxthul unexpectedly. When had he last eaten something prepared with care rather than consumed purely for survival? He couldn't remember. "Besides," Dave continued, "I'm guessing you spend most of your time dealing with people who are either terrified of you or trying to kill you. That's got to be exhausting. Sometimes a good sandwich can turn your whole day around." Navigator Zeftar whispered urgently, "Commander, this could be poisoned." But Kraxthul found himself genuinely curious. "Tell me about this sandwich." Dave's face brightened. "Oh man, okay. So the turkey is from this farm on New Terra where they actually let the birds roam free. The cheese is aged Swiss from the Centauri colonies. They've got this process where they age it in asteroid caves. And the vegetables are fresh from my hydroponic garden in the cargo hold." "You grow your own food?" "Yeah. It's relaxing, and fresh vegetables are hard to come by in deep space. Plus, there's something satisfying about eating something you grew yourself, you know?" Kraxthul realized he didn't know. In 3 centuries of conquest, he had never grown anything, never created anything except fear and destruction. His meals were delivered by servants who trembled in his presence. "Beam the human aboard," Kraxthul commanded suddenly, His crew stared in shock. "Sir? You heard me. And prepare the formal dining chamber." 20 minutes later, Dave Peterson sat across from the most feared warlord in the sector, watching as Crackskull carefully examined the sandwich half he'd been offered. "The presentation is humble," Crackskull observed. "Yeah, well, I'm not much for fancy plating, but taste it." Crackskull took a cautious bite. His mandibles moved slowly as he processed flavors he had never experienced. The complex interplay of textures, the careful balance of ingredients, the subtle warmth of food prepared with attention rather than efficiency. "This is—" He paused, searching for words in his extensive vocabulary of conquest and domination, finding them inadequate. "This is pleasant." Dave grinned. "Right? Sometimes the simple stuff is the best stuff." They ate in companionable silence for several minutes. Finally, Crackskull spoke. "In all my conquests, no one has ever offered to share their food with me. Well, most people probably see the giant warship and think threat instead of person who might be hungry." Crackskull considered this. "And you saw a person who might be hungry? Everyone gets hungry, right? Even warlords." The silence stretched again, but it was thoughtful rather than tense. "Dave Peterson," Crackskull said finally, "I believe you have given me something far more valuable than any tribute I have ever received. Just a sandwich, man." "No," Crackskull said, his voice softer than it had been in decades. "You have given me perspective." 3 months later, former warlord Crackskull opened a small restaurant on a space station in neutral territory. The specialty of the house was something he called the perspective, a simple sandwich made with care and served to anyone who was hungry, regardless of species, credits, or past conflicts. Dave Peterson was his first regular customer and the only being in the galaxy who still called him by his first name, which turned out to be Kevin.